The next item is the clerk of courts. Mrs. Boni.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'd like to make a motion to set the positions and salaries of the Clerk of Courts Office and Bureau of Collections effective January 1st, 2021, as listed on Exhibit R1.
Second. Move to amend Exhibit R1 and modify the positions and salaries to reflect an hourly increase of 0.8% in line with the October 12th, 2020 and most current bi-monthly report for the CPIU region of Philadelphia, Camden, and Wilmington in lieu of the program 3%.
We have a second to the amendment. Hearing none, call for the vote.
Mrs. Boni.
Yes.
Mr. Severcek.
Yes.
Mr. Arner.
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich.
No.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
I would like to make another motion to change the rate of one part-time clerical specialist from $10.32 per hour, grade 3, step A, to $11.16 per hour, grade 4, step B, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Discussion real quick. On this particular positions that we're creating, I don't know if you would consider changing it to a department clerk too, instead of creating more and more job titles, plus the fact that one of the positions or people have been in that office, I think 3 years, and the other one is only coming up on an anniversary date sometime this year.
This is the part-time.
part-time.
Oh, the part-time.
This is the one that's unfilled right now. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I just have a problem with it. Okay. I can call for the vote. Then we'll have discussion.
Okay, Mrs. Boni.
Yes.
Mr. Severcek.
Yes.
Mr. Arner.
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich.
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
No.
My next motion is to establish the positions of 2 deputy clerks at $12.31 per hour, grade 6, step B, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Okay. Mrs. Boni.
Yes.
Mr. Severcek.
No.
Mr. Arner.
No, not at this time.
Mr. Lukasevich.
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
No. This is, I apologize, this is the one I was really referring to begin with, that you have one person in that office for a few years. You have one coming up on an anniversary date. I understand your plans of promoting it. This person will only have their first anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, in August. Is that correct?
That is incorrect. This is in regards to 2 clerical specialists that is with the office for quite a few years, and the other one is with the office under the collections clerk 2 position currently.
I have a problem with that because we try to reward the employees that here are by the steps and the grades when they get that 3%. And that, as well as the grade. I certainly think that's, if you look at the comparison to the other positions, I think it should only be in a grade 5.
And what would be, Commissioner Notstein, what would be an amendment to that existing motion on the table then, in the 5?
Well,
If this one fails.
well, if this one fails, I know.
Okay.
Okay. Call for the vote?
Oh, we're done.
Oh,
Oh, there it is.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
Did you have an alternate motion, Ms. Boni?
Well, at this point, I need to gather my notes here on where we had originally had started with that. And you basically have stated, Wayne, that you will not go to a grade 6. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just don't think it's appropriate because.
And you think it should stay at a grade 5.
Yes, I do.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Then I would like to make a motion to establish 2 positions for deputy clerks at $12.07 per hour, grade 5, excuse me, step C, effective
Okay.
January 1st, 2021. I believe one of them may be there, but the other one is not.
It's
have a second?
Yeah.
just my initial question on that one regarding the longevity of the people in the office, to be fair to all the other offices as well, which can create problems for us, especially since this person does not even have a year yet. Normally, if someone is hired during the year, such as the one in August, they do not get that 3% increase until their anniversary date, but they then would get the next increase at January if there was a 3%. You follow?
They are both over a year with the county.
They are.
Yes, they are.
Ms. Boni, is there any modification to their position description associated with the change in grade and/or step?
Yes, there is. They are now responsible for attending court hearings and assessing on criminal cases, as well as processing all the paperwork that goes along with every court hearing.
Okay, thank you.
So the motion is to move them to a 5C at 1207.
Yes, for both the deputy clerk positions. And I believe one, with the R1 being accepted, is at that position at this time.
Okay.
So it really would only be a reflecting of the one deputy clerk.
Okay, any further discussion? And the motion is to establish the 2 positions at a 5C. 1207, correct.
Correct.
Call for vote.
Okay, Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
Yes.
Mr. Arner,
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
Okay, this time I'd like to make a motion to abolish the position of one collections clerk, Bureau of Collections, at $11.72 per hour, grade 5, step B, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
Yes.
Mr. Arner,
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
At this time, I would like to make a motion of one clerical specialist at $11.83 per hour, grade 4, step D, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Excuse me, Mrs. Boni.
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
Yes.
Mr. Arner,
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich.
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
At this time, I would like to establish one position, collections coordinator, at $14.53 per hour, grade 10, step A, effective January 1st, 2021. And I'd like to open that for discussion, if I may.
Yes.
So we got a
I agree with
second?
that, yeah.
Okay, second.
We need a second. Okay.
I may at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Upon conclusion of my evaluation of both the clerk of courts and collections office after taking office, it was very clear that what was reported at the end of 2019 was inconclusive. The list of objectives to complete in both offices was very extensive, with more than 4 years of backlog in collections alone. To further add to the complexity of this task, after 20 days into office, the director of collections applied for FMLA and further applied for 3 extended leave without pay absences, all of which were granted with no expected to return. This left the collections office with no one trained or knowledgeable of the responsibilities of that position. The staff, along with myself, quickly searched out resources to learn the duties of the position. And for the past 11 months, the staff has pulled together to complete the duties and responsibilities of this position so that these office would not fall further behind. Through this process, it has been learned that the streamlining and procedural changes that have been put into place since February 2020, along with the accurate cross-training of the staff, has allowed the offices to complete this work effectively and efficiently. This proposal will not be an increase in my payroll expenditure. This proposal will result in over $25,000 in savings to my payroll expense and compensate a team of excellence that has assumed the additional duties and responsibilities of that position. This team has worked tirelessly to complete the enormous volume of backlog in both offices over the past 11 months and are deserving of the proposed wages. I feel it is important to stress this is not a pay raise. Therefore, it does not make sense to move along the salary scheduled steps. It is essential in restructuring the existing positions and therefore compensating accordingly. Therefore, I am requesting the position of director to be abolished after the justified wage increases are granted for reallocating the job duties and responsibilities of the previous director's position across the roles of my first deputy, second deputy, and collections coordinator. When I took office, I vowed to do the best job for the citizens of Carbon County. The restructuring of these offices and proposal in restructuring these positions will save $25,000 in just payroll. This does not include the savings in FICA tax, pension, or benefits. Thank you.
Ms. Boni, Commissioner Lukasevich, I want to thank you for the thoroughness of your preparation to include in the executive sessions and today to make your case. And importantly, I want to thank you for, in June, you brought all the stakeholders in regards to what your offices do together and gave us a very thorough and detailed understanding of the challenges you faced, the accomplishments up until that point, so 6 months in, and then you showed us the roadmap for the way ahead, and subsequently, and most recently during this process, you provided us more detail and clarity. So I want to thank you for the information that is going to help us make a better informed decision once we decide to vote here on this particular forthcoming motions.
I do want to comment. I want to thank you and your staff for the excellent job you have done this past year since you've been there and catching up on the huge backlog that we had. Your staff were compensated and all the extra hours you put in overtime and coming in on weekends, and I commend you and your staff for doing that. But again, to increase them, and you're talking about a $25,000 savings, but you got to look at, again, go back to what Mr. Lukasevich said about the workman's comp and the additional expenses for retirement and Medicare and all those issues. So we're looking at capital expenses in your office, totaling $47,000, moving your office to another floor. I understand you need a retriever, and it's a good possibility that'll happen this year, but COVID, the overtime, people in all offices have gone out of the way. So I really have a problem with going not so much as such a major increase, but the grade levels again, increasing it above a lot of other people that are in the same or lower grade levels. It just creates another problem for the salary board in the inequities, which we have already talked about, and hopefully we'll be able to rectify some of those inequities this coming year for next year's salary board.
We seem to have lost the feed.
No, the feed is going well.
Okay, it said Robert Miller across my screen. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, and even like, what exactly is the motion here? Is this gonna be
if we're making this motion, are the rest of them not gonna be made, or what's the situation?
No, this is,
Because I mean, I'm looking at some of these other positions also, and you know, the savings from departments, I mean, you're eliminating a job, and those savings to me should go to the taxpayer. And if there are some positions that you're gonna take on more duties, two of them are positions that are already established. And when you look at the one that's gonna be created, yeah, that person might be, you know, go for the 5 or 10% increase because of the duties. But the other ones, I just can't see justifying, I mean, like $2.71 and almost $4 an hour increase for the same job or the position that's there. You know, I could see 1 or 2 steps, you know, maybe, you know, whatever it is, 80 cents and 80, you know, $1.60 or, but not to the extent of giving that amount of money. Because I think it's gonna wind up giving us repercussions throughout the whole county, because not everybody's gonna say it. And I don't know what the time, you know, some of these positions, people might be there for 20 years and they're at the higher rate. You know, if we bring somebody in here, if they're at this rate, I don't know what, you know, if they're gonna be here for 20 years, they'll be way exceeding, you know, what we could actually afford at the county level. And I think what my point was before, I'm trying to get the bottom to come up and the top, you know, just basically stay where it is, or just keep them getting up on steps. Because if we keep going like this, the person that makes $10 an hour is getting 30 cents an hour, and the one that's getting 20 is getting 60 cents an hour. In 20 years, it's gonna be a bigger span yet. That's why my approach, I said, would have been, I think, a flat rate for people. And I think before, when the judge was talking about, you know, I don't know, I think that's something that we have to look at as the board, as the salary board, because a lot of times when you have these studies come in, they want you to either freeze people at the top, and how is that gonna work? You know, I think we're gonna have to try and see how to work it, but for myself, I think this increase of that amount of money is too much at this time.
Well, I would wonder though, is it commensurate with the motion that's on the table? So Mrs. Boni, I'm asking you to justify for us, that the grade and step being asked is commensurate with the duties and responsibilities, you know, in the position description.
So basically, the position that I'm looking to create here, the collections coordinator, this position is the sole position within the collections department at this time going forward, with, in the event that the other positions are abolished. So this person has more than 50% more job duty responsibilities in compensation for that wage. It's not a apple to apple comparison here, nor is it an apple to apple comparison with my first deputy and second deputy position, which I will later address. The job duties that have been added to their job descriptions have increased significantly, again, greater than 50%. Therefore, the compensation of the wages is what I'm looking to do in order to justify taking on the extra duties. The extra duties split between these 3 individuals going forward is replacing another person in the office. So yes, it's not just going to be a pay raise. It's in compensation for what they are now going to be needed to do in their responsibilities and duties.
Ms. Boni, did any consultations take place with our HR director, you know, looking at duties and responsibilities that were added and helping determine the appropriate grade and step?
Yes, I had spent several meetings with our HR department in trying to reallocate the positions and duties based on the grade and scale of which was confirmed to me, that based on what they are now expected to do, it coincides with these grades and step levels.
Well, there's a motion and a second on the table. Should we vote and see what happens?
There's no further discussion. Right?
Okay. Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
No.
Mr. Arner,
No.
Mr. Lukasevich,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
no,
Okay, at this time, I would like to make a motion to establish the position of one collections coordinator at $14.69 per hour, grade 9, step C, effective January 1st, 2021.
Ms. Boni, can you restate that, please?
Yes. I would like to make a motion to establish the position of one collections coordinator at $14.69 per hour, grade 9, step C, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Call for the
Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
No.
Mr. Arner,
No.
Mr. Lukasevich,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein,
No.
Okay, at this time, I would like to make a motion to establish the position of one collections coordinator at $14.26 per hour, grade 9, step B, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
For discussion, when you're getting up there into grade 9, you really stretching it, and I just don't see that happening. It's more in the administrative assistance positions, aging care manager ones, witness coordinators, etc. It just doesn't fit that grade. It's just too high of a grade. And the salary. I don't think it's fair to the other role offices. And I think they all have, you know, of course we have our one or two that always create a problem, but in general, all our people in these offices are well deserving, and I don't think you fully understand how hard some of those people work as well. And I can't go with nothing like that.
I do understand, Wayne.
Okay.
okay? Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
No.
Mr. Arner,
No.
Mr. Lukasevich,
Yes.
Mr. Notstein,
No.
May I open this for discussion?
Briefly, I think we talked about it enough over the last how many executive board meetings?
Okay. And you had stated in the executive board meeting that in the event 10 and 11 would not pass, to consider 9 and 10, which I am now doing as per your request. And at this point, based on the job duties and responsibilities of the job, of the position that I'm trying to establish, what would your recommendation be fitting to this person?
I would recommend a 6B at 1268.
I'm sorry?
6B at 1268.
Grade 6, step B?
Step B, correct.
I think that's step C.
C, well, I'm sorry.
Step C, that is.
Step C, oh,
Step C.
stand corrected, step C.
Have you looked at the job duties and responsibilities of this individual?
Yes, I did. And
You
I
have.
just-
And this person currently is at 12.07 an hour to be the only person in this position for this office.
Yeah, I would state, I don't think that grade and step is commensurate with the duties and responsibilities
Absolutely not. I'd have to agree with you.
detailed in the position description that was provided
I
to
can
us.
tell you exactly what will happen at the next February meeting already. I think the rest of the row offices would be here at our, coming to the salary board with their new updated job descriptions.
And we could tell them, make it the 2021 annual salary board to update their duty descriptions and responsibilities, or they would have done it already.
Again, I am reallocating duties and responsibilities across the staff here to abolish a position. Do you take one and ask them to do more without compensating one? I pose that question to each and every one of you. If you were all asked to increase the amount of your job duties by 50%, would you do it for expected to be done without having compensation?
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'll make a motion for a 6C at 1306.
That's a 6B, I think. I will second that.
D,
Okay, I have a, yeah, 6D,
6D.
1306.
And I'll second that. And I think that was sort of like in our discussion that we had before, and on my notes here, I was between a 6, C and D, and I would agree with that, and that's why I made the second motion.
Further discussion? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Boni,
no.
Mr. Severcek,
Yes.
Mr. Honor,
Yes,
Mr. Lukasevich,
No.
Mr. Notstein,
Yes.
Okay. My next motion is to abolish the position of one collections clerk, Bureau of Collections at $12.07 per hour, grade 5, step C, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
Yes.
Mr. Honor,
yes,
Mr. Lukasevich.
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes.
My next motion is to change the rate of 1 second deputy from $12.55 per hour, grade 7, step A, at $15.26 per hour, grade 11, step A, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
I call for the vote.
yeah, the only discussion I have with this is, I mean, I go back to what I said before, I mean, if there's a 5 or 10% raise, it's just, I mean, this is, I think, a $2.71 increase. And I go back to what, I mean, 2 steps could give this person close to $1. I mean, I think that would be more appropriate.
Mr. Chairman, may I call for the vote?
Any further discussion on it? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
No.
Mr. Honor,
No,
Mr. Lukasevich.
Yes.
Mr. Notstein.
No.
Okay, this time I'd like to make a motion. Change the rate of 1 second deputy from $12.55 per hour, grade 7, step A, to $15.42 per hour, grade 10, step C, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
No.
Mr. Honor,
no,
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
No.
Okay, at this time, I would like to make a motion to change the rate of 1 second deputy from $12.55 per hour, grade 7, step A, to $14.97 per hour, grade 10, step B, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Boni?
Yes.
Mr. Severcek?
No.
Mr. Arner?
No.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
No.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to change the rate of 1 second deputy, $12.55 per hour, grade 7, step A, to $14.53 per hour, grade 10, step A, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Boni?
Yes.
Mr. Severcek?
No.
Mr. Arner?
No.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
No.
Okay, I pose the question again to you, gentlemen. In order to get this passed through with the job duties and responsibilities, where would you like this position to be at? With the reallocation and restructuring of both offices, clerk of courts and collections.
Ms. Boni,
Again, this person is taking on 40 to 50% more job duties and responsibilities without being compensated for their wages.
That's the case with many other office or county employees taking on a lot more work.
Yeah, but I would argue, I haven't seen a row officer, department head, other than what's been shown on the salary board demonstrating that. That may indeed be the case, and I know they're out there. But the fact is, the case is being made. And I'll tell you, Mrs. Boni, I think you're doing a disservice to this particular individual in this position if you settle for less, because they won't be fairly compensated for the duties and responsibilities. It's, again, I know it's a tough place to be in, but looking at your duty description and your expectations, I think it's a disservice to them to go any lower.
I think to go with too much is also a disservice to the other
Yeah.
county employees.
Yeah.
I don't think you're being reasonable. I agree, maybe they do take on a lot more duties and responsibilities, but again, a lot of our other departments do as well.
But nothing prevents a row officer from coming to us and making that case. And with few exceptions, again, those annotated here in our agenda, they haven't done that. So the assumption is either that individual doesn't feel, and I'm talking about that supervisor doesn't feel they're going above and beyond, are more deserving.
I think you were asking me, Ms. Boni, on what I would propose. And I will propose a 7C, and I was gonna go with the B, but I'll go with the 7C at 1332. That is my motion.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Boni?
No.
Mr. Severcek?
Yes.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
No.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The next motion is to change the rate of 1 first deputy from $18.34 per hour, grade S5, step E, to $21.90 per hour, grade 5, S5, sorry, step K, effective January 1st, 2021.
Second.
And that rate that rate there, is that on the sheet that I have here, I think it was, the person was going from, what was it here? On E, or to 1884. Aren't they actually on step 5D at 1780?
Right, that's where it was.
Yeah, that's correct, right? That's what their current position is. S5D at 1780. Going to,
E. This position is currently at E.
oh, okay, because on this original sheet that you had given me, it has S5D. So then this person actually is at the E already. Okay. So then this person will have an increase of $3.56. Am I correct at that?
You are correct.
Okay.
And keep in mind, through this restructure, the savings that was at the beginning of my first motions was saving the taxpayers $25,000 in my payroll expense. Obviously, at this point, from the motions that you have made, Wayne, that have passed, it's much more than that if the other position is abolished. Other offices are not cutting positions. Maybe they don't have the opportunity to at this time, but in the event they had the opportunity to restructure and reallocate duties and responsibilities, I'm sure they will come to you and ask you for the same thing.
We have in the past, before you came on board, we have offices that have reduced their staff. They did not get those big increases back then.
That was a forced reduction though, wasn't it? Basically, we're directing the reduction in force. Right,
Previously.
right, it was,
Just like this, yes.
okay, my understanding was they were told there would be across the board reductions in staffing versus someone who voluntarily came forth and said, I examined and assessed my office and we actually have too many people, which you don't hear too many officials ever say. Again, that was my understanding of that reduction.
Some of the roll offices have done that previously. Controller's office, in the data processing end of it, they reduced one. Unfortunately, the caseload, they had to bring that part-timer back. We reduced one in 8, but that's under the commissioners and
Right,
several other offices, and we're some of those offices are getting so busy again, we have to reconsider in some of them. Okay, we have a motion properly seconded. Any further discussion? Over to vote.
Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
No.
Mr. Arner,
No.
Mr. Lukasevich.
Yes,
Mr. Notstein.
No.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to move the first deputy position grade S5, step E at $18.34 per hour to grade 5, step I at $20.64 per hour effective January 1st, 2021.
second,
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Mrs. Boni,
Yes.
Mr. Severcek,
No.
Mr. Arner,
No.
Mr. Lukasevich.
yes,
Mr. Notstein.
No.
My final motion will be, I'd like to make a motion to move the first deputy position to grade 5. Step H, I'm sorry, grade 5, step E, $18.34 per hour to grade 5, step H, $20.04 per hour effective January 1st, 2021.
second,
I mean, just on, I mean, going back to my calculations, what I always, as I said, between that 5 and 10% if you have other duties. But I said this position was established, so it would be around the $20 mark. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I would be accepting to a G. I mean, H might be pushing it a little bit. I don't know what the discussion of the other board members would be.
I think H is pushing it, but.
G would be
we probably go with the
1946.
1946.
Is that the motion, G?
No, she has
she
motion
has
on the
H.
floor. She has a motion for the H. You were seconded, correct?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
That's the motion. Any further discussion?
So, I'm sorry, yeah, discussion. So, Commissioner Arnold, you're looking at potentially B at 1946?
Correct.
Yes, yes.
Ms. Boni, are you willing to modify the existing motion on the table?
At this point, everything that has been proposed has not passed. It's been, for lack of better words, it's been amended lower to the duties and the responsibilities of everything that these individuals are now taking on. I think I have been more than compensating or more than cooperative in negotiating with everyone here on the positions and the rates of these individuals for what they are now going to be undertaking.
So, Ms. Boni, how many hours a week? So that current individual is working how many hours a week? I understand that's not a salary board decision, but how many hours a week is that individual currently working?
This person is currently working 35 hours a week. The extended hours have now finished, which now is going to pose another problem with trying to get the workload completed in the 35 hours. In the event that I would consider G, I would want to make this position a salary, the only salary position between the two offices, a 40-hour work week. In any event, I can make this individual a 40-hour work week. I would consider that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote at the 5H, correct, at 2004.
Correct.
Boni.
I'm sorry?
Mrs. Boni? Your
Yes.
vote? Mr. Severcek?
No.
Mr. Arner?
No.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
No,
So basically, as per our open discussions that we had in the executive salary board, when the H was going to be considered, that was not correct and accurate statement made by you, Mr. Notstein. Is that correct?
consider it.
Okay. I have no further motions.
Okay, then I'll make the motion to change the rate of one first deputy from 1834, grade 5S, step E to grade 5, step G at 1946.
I will second that.
Effective January 1?
Effective January 1, correct.
Any discussion? Motion on the floor. Mrs. Boni?
No.
Mr. Severcek?
Yes.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
I'm thinking. Thinking. I know the smoke is coming up. Yes.
Notstein?
Yes. Further motions?
I have no further motions, gentlemen. Thank you, and a happy new year.
And on your agenda, you have the motion to abolish the position of one director Bureau of Collections at $23.92 per hour, grade 5, step N, effective January 22nd, 2021.
I'm rescinding that motion. I'm no longer going to make that motion. Thank you.
right.
I'll make the motion to abolish the position of one director, Bureau of Collections at $23.92 per hour, grade 5, step N, effective January 22nd, 2021.
I'll second that.
Mrs. Boni,
No.
Mr. Severcek,
Yes.
Mr. Arner,
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich.
No.
Mr. Notstein.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You too. Okay.
Now we'll move on to set the positions and salaries under the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners at the Carbon Kelly Courthouse Complex as per Exhibit A, effective January 1st, 2021.